Hey fam, it may true, back at it again. Been off a few days, been doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that. We're gonna pick up Israel's Redemption right where we left off. Hopefully we can get this done tonight. Of course, can't say enough about this young woman and for all the other soldiers and fellow brothers and sisters who are searching and seeking and sharing and enlightening. Thank you so much, everybody. Can't name you all, just know that my heart goes out to each and every one of you. I keep you lifted up in my spirit because I know that you're fighting that good fight of faith. You fighting that fight. You riding that wave and you laying them planks. So here we go with one more plank.
Our people knew to also define Ra as to spin violently, to make dizzy. And that is how our language works. And of course, we know what happens to someone when we spin them around very fast. They get dizzy and they can't stand up straight. They fall down. So that's the prefix of Ra-Kahama Saul. Ra-Kahama Saul. The first part, Ra. Now what I would have to do next is go to another source to show you letter Ka, because it was removed by our enemies. But the letter Ka deals with something that is twisted, to twist. It also deals with, something that is utterly destroyed, ruined. And when I show you this letter Ka in the other source that I'm going to go to, and once we learn the meaning, you'll understand, or you will, you can say overstand if you want to, I don't care, understand. As long as you comprehend, you will comprehend why they removed it from the list, because you don't see it in the so-called modern list. Now, this book here was, this thing was published like in 1838 or 1835, one of them. And even Ka is not even in this list. In this list, they put K-A-V. There's no V as in vegetable sound in our language. It should be a C-H in the pronunciation. It's Kayu, from kaya, which is where the word kayak comes from. You know what a kayak is, a boat. But the word for kayak, the letters for kayak, that comes from kok, C-H-A-C-H, which is very different from the K-H. And once I show you these symbols that our people used, you'll be able to see that. They should not have a K there, it should be C-H. That's where they made the mistake. But of course, what causes the confusion is when you look on this list and you see the letter C and then the A and the H. You automatically think that's pronounced as an S, sa, but it's pronounced with a K sound, ka. And they have the meaning here, it's a sling, which is not exactly true. So this C-A-H that you see here in the list is pronounced with a K sound, ka. But let's go look at my other source for Ka. You're going to learn that it means a twisted flax of yarn. It's like flax or yarn that's like twisted really thick, and then they put it in fire and they burn it. That's how they make candles back then. They would take flax, they would twist it up into like a rope style, and they would soak it in oil. They would put it in a lantern and they would light it. So that's how they made their candles. Is actually where the term wicked comes from. So that's how they made their candle wicks. So let's look at the source, because we are right now we are using the example Rakamai Saul. Now this first source that I'm using to show you this picture is from a book that was written by a man named Gordon J. Hamilton. The name of the book, I should say the name of the article, because it's actually an article that's in a journal. The name of the article is The Origins of the West Shemitic Alphabet, written by Gordon J. Hamilton. Now here in this picture here, he has karm, and they have that little loop under that H, it's a ka sound. But the letter itself is just ka, okay? This is actually a whole word because they have the ra, and then they have the at the end. But the prefix is ka, that's the letter. Now it says it derives from the hieroglyph, wick of twisted flax. My other source is here. This is from a blogspot blog that someone posted. It's called Crypt Cracker. Now what I did was I took screen captures of all this information so I could have it with my own records, because I noticed And when you find certain things that gives you information that's very important, you go back to it later and it's gone. So I took screen captures of these. But I'm going to scroll down to ka. And we're going to read what this person says about it. These people here are people who study languages. They dedicate their whole lives to just studying languages. And number 4 right here, he has ka. Listen to what he says about ka. He said, this is a letter that disappeared from the alphabet. So if you look at a modern list, you're not going to see it. You might see something like, maybe like ket or whatever. But if you're not familiar with our language, if you don't know the root sound is ah, you won't know that it should be kat. And that the at should be taken off and it's just ka. You won't know that. Now he lists here, says it looks like a twisted thread, a hank of yarn. Now it says here that linguists use an Ethiopic name for, of course, that's not what we call it. It's just ka. It's a letter. We are not Ethiopians, but we do know that King Solomon had some involvement with the Ethiopians. So there again, I'm not surprised that certain Ethiopians use a lot of words from our language. Even though they come from Ham, they have their own language. Their language is distinct from ours. But a lot of the words they use come from our language. Of course, you go back in history and see the involvement with certain Ethiopians with our people. So I'm not surprised there either. Now he says here that it looks like a twisted hank of yarn. Now I showed you the picture because right here, there are no pictures here. He's just talking about it. Now he says whatever the precise reference is, the letter did exist. Why would they remove it? Let's talk about that before we discuss Rock of My Soul. Okay, that's what they say, rock my soul, right? So before we discuss that even more, let's talk about why they would remove that letter. You're gonna be surprised. So looking at the picture of ka, we see that it's basically some flax or fabric or material that's been twisted up, and it's been placed into a little dish. And now what you don't know is that yarn is saturated with oil. Now the English call it a lamp or a wick. So basically you light that little thing up there and it burns until the oil burns off and the fabric is done. That's a lamp. Notice that the material itself is twisted and it looks like DNA. Remember, one of the keys to getting our language and grasping is referring to nature. This is what the Most High has given us. So if we look at this, you see that yarn is twisted like DNA. Ka means destroyed, ruined, to burn. And now getting to why they would get rid of Ka. Did you know that the Caucasus Mountains was originally spelled as K-H-A? Not with a C. So in our language, the so-called whites, we say white people, right? They were called the Kakazad. Asad. So, in some of my comments, sometimes I have whites, nut jobs who show up on my channel and they make little comments. And I call them cockasses. Because they are, that's where they're from. Now there's a double meaning in caulk because it has the same sound as coke, which means to cover, right? To round.